Chapter 12, 54. Love Becomes the Problem. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Waiting was often long and difficult to endure. Shi Yi was unable to sit still, pacing back and forth in the large hall. Yu Yi was sitting cross-legged on the ground with his eyes closed. He spoke with dissatisfaction. "Can't you rest properly? Don't move back and forth." Shi Yi yelled, "I have already rested enough. Sigh, how long do we have to wait? Until the other group arrives." Bu Zhenzi spoke. "If they don't come, do we continue waiting forever?" Zhao Lianyun frowned. She was also somewhat impatient. When fighting with Hair Mistress, the 5 immortals were all wholeheartedly focused and did not feel anything. Now that they were cooped up in here, every second became unbearable. Zhao Lianyun was feeling even worse, like a fire was burning her heart. Bu Zhenzi frowned and was about to speak. But at this moment, Zhao Lianyun spoke again. "You must have some thoughts. All of you have seen and even personally gone through the final moment in the spaceless tunnel. Do you think that perhaps the other Gu immortals have died there?" "Impossible." Shi Yi was the first to refute it as he glared at Zhao Lianyun with anger. His father Shige was among those Gu immortals. Zhao Lianyun's words were like predicting his father's death. Zhao Lianyun ignored Shi Yi's attitude, continuing, "You are all aware that we came here because of Love Gu's power, but the other Gu immortals did not get such help. Even the immortal Gu houses were on the verge of destruction at that time, let alone Gu immortals. If there are no reinforcements, how long do we wait for?" The other Gu immortals had slight changes in their expressions. They actually had such worries, but it was just that they did not take the initiative to speak up. Now, Zhao Lianyun had brought up this topic, Bu Zhenzi thought, and spoke in a deep voice. "Your speculation is not impossible, but even if there are no reinforcements, Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects will send a second group of Gu immortals." Zhao Lianyun continued, Can the second group of reinforcements reach here? You have all experienced the difficulties and dangers we faced on our way. Can Spaceless Tunnel still be used a second time? Even if it can be used, can we be at ease using it again?" Bu Zhenzi firmly stared at Zhao Lianyun's eyes and spoke solemnly. "You need to believe in our sect, Zhao Lianyun. You are Spirit Affinity House's fairy. The sect is your biggest backer. If you don't believe in even the sect, who can you trust?" Zhao Lianyun sharply sensed Bu Zhenzi's displeasure, but she disregarded it and continued. "Even if the sect sends reinforcements and they reach here, what about the time? When will they arrive here? What price will they have to pay? Will there be mishaps again? This is Northern Plains, not Central Continent." Bu Zhenzi was silent. He was unable to retort to Zhao Lianyun's words. Zhao Lianyun let out a breath of air. "In short, I don't want to wait any longer." "You have to wait even if you don't want to." Bu Zhenzi frowned in anger. He stared at Zhao Lianyun. Both did not retreat and were fixated on their own stance. Zhao Lianyun's eyes were soon filled with mist. She moved her sight and looked the other way. "If during this time Hong Yun is killed, what would we do? Can you make a guarantee?" In truth, Zhao Lianyun was feeling more and more afraid as she waited. What she was afraid of was not her own safety. Instead, under the situation where the reinforcements were far away, waiting could not solve the problem. If during this time Ma Hongyun was harmed by old ancestor Shehu and successfully used as a Gu material to refine fortune rivaling heaven immortal Gu, this would be Zhao Lianyun's lifetime regret. In the future, when she recalled it, she would be filled with extreme regret. Regret that she had once been so close to Ma Hongyun, charging into snowy mountain-blessed land, and fate gave her a perfect opportunity, but she did not take it. The blurry view of the first peak could be seen from the 9th peak. It was such a short distance, but she just kept on waiting here, losing the final chance. Zhao Lianyun did not want to see such a thing happening. That result would make her feel sadness and pain that was worse than death. The other 3 immortals did not find it convenient to meddle in the quarrel between Zhao Lianyun and Zhenzi. After all, it was Spirit Affinity House's internal matter. Bu Zhenzi retorted, Even if you don't want to wait, can you save Ma Hongyun? Even if you are able to defeat other Snowy Peak lords? Don't forget that you will have to face old ancestor Shuhu in the end, because Ma Hongyun is kept at the first peak. I know. Zhao Lianyun clenched her fists, her voice becoming sharper. But you said as well that before old ancestor Shuhu, we will have to deal with the other 10 or so Snowy Peak lords. We can get rid of them first, in any case. Rank 8 Gu immortals cannot act against us in this Gu formation. With this, once our reinforcements arrive, we can directly attack the first peak, saving time and energy. Bu Junzi was furious, his expression turning dark. Then I will speak frankly. This Super Gu formation amplifies the enemy's power while weakening us. If we leave this place, we will be forcefully separated by the formation and transported to other snowy peaks. Will each of you be able to fight them alone? In the previous battle, Mu Linglan and I led the main attack. What help can you 3 rank 6s bring? Bu Junzi spoke bluntly, but the 3 rank 6 Gu immortals were not able to retort because what he said was a fact. Zhao Lianyun lowered her head in silence for a while before she raised her head and said, "Then I am going to use Love Gu again." Bu Junzi scoffed. "Who do you think you are? Will Love Gu listen to you and allow you to control it?" Back then, even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was not able to refine Love Gu. That is because he did not receive the acknowledgement of Love Gu, Zhao Lianyun retorted. So what you are saying is that all the other fairies of Spirit Affinity House were useless? Not even one of them was able to control Love Gu? Bu Junzi sneered. How would I know without trying? Zhao Lianyun was persistent. Bu Junzi laughed and was just about to speak when Zhao Lianyun had already taken action. She called out in her heart, "Love Gu, oh Love Gu, please display your might. Take the 5 of us to another snowy peak." Love Gu did not even budge, as if it was dead. Zhao Lianyun was unwilling to give up. She continued to pray and beg in her heart. Bu Junzi noticed Zhao Lianyun's stillness and was about to speak, but right at this moment, Love Gu's aura rose from Zhao Lianyun's body, and at the same time, bright radiance covered Zhao Lianyun. The other 4 immortals were extremely shocked. All of their eyes were wide open as they stared fixedly at this sight. Mu Linglan could not help but say, It seems like the time when we left Spaceless Tunnel and appeared at Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. It was this aura and also the light." "Continue, don't stop," Shi Zhengyi urged. At the next moment, the light moving around Zhao Lianyun seemed to act on its own as it spread towards the other 4 Gu immortals. "Like this, we can charge our way towards the other snowy peaks. Ah, maybe it can directly take us out of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land." Shi Zhengyi was hopeful. Bu Junzi's mouth was wide open, unable to say a word at this moment. The shock he felt was much more intense than the others. Love Gu cannot be controlled. This is absolutely true from history. Even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was left without options. But why? Why? Why is Love Gu so obedient in Zhao Lianyun's hands? Could it be that Zhao Lianyun is the strongest fairy in the whole history of Spirit Affinity House? No, it is more likely because of her status. She is an otherworldly demon. Could it be that otherworldly demons and Love Gu complement each other? Others cannot control Love Gu, but an otherworldly demon is an exception? Countless thoughts welled up in Bu Junzi's mind, like surging waves in the sea. While he was thinking, the space behind him suddenly ruptured and turned into a fist-sized black hole. The black hole let out an unimaginable suction force, forcibly dragging in Bu Junzi. A person as strong as Bu Junzi, a rank 7 Gu immortal, was unable to do anything and was directly dragged in, disappearing from the spot. At the same time, the same thing happened to other Gu immortals. In the blink of an eye, this large hall was empty and silent. "We have left the 9th snowy peak." Bu Junzi held feelings of shock as he sized up his surroundings the moment his feet landed on solid ground. This was similarly inside a large hall, but this hall was different from the previous one. The previous hall was decorated and beautiful and seemingly emitted feminine aura, while this hall was majestic and grand with a masculine air emanating from it. "Which snowy peak is this?" Bu Zhenzi had this thought, but shortly afterwards his expression suddenly changed as he shouted, "Damn it!" He found that he was the only one in the whole hall. The other four Gu immortals were nowhere to be seen. He sobered himself up. Looks like I was overthinking it. Zhao Lianyun might be an otherworldly demon, but how can she control Love Gu? Love Gu is still unreliable and has countless abilities. Who knows when it will act up? I was sent here. What about the others? Where are they? It would be best if they were together. Zhao Lianyun would be slightly more safe then. But if Zhao Lianyun is alone, Bu Zhenzi did not dare to continue thinking. Right at this time, an inky black shadow crept near him from the ground and silently attacked him. Bu Zhenzi's instincts set off warning signs. He quickly jumped back and dodged. But the shadow was like a viper, extremely fast, and within a breath of time it had pounced towards Bu Zhenzi's feet. Turn Phantom! At the crucial moment, Bu Zhenzi used his specialty as a Phantom Path Gu immortal, turning into phantom form. The shadow helplessly passed through him, reaching behind Bu Zhenzi.